Good evening, folks, and welcome to FMA Discussion. This is episode 510, and tonight we'll be covering Lameco with Tony Caruso. Dog brother, ex-dog brother, I'm not sure. We'll find that out. I guess when you're a dog brother, you're always a dog brother, right? I don't know. We'll get the clarity on that, though. At any rate, yeah, so we're going to be finding out about his journey, FMA journey, and then Lameco, and then I'm sure we'll cover some dog brother stuff. So if you're watching, tell us where you're watching from. If you have questions, put them in the column section there in the comments section. If they are not pertaining to the subject matter that I'm currently talking to Tony about, I will write them down. I just might not ask them at that point, not just to interrupt the flow of the conversation is all. Okay? But definitely put them in there. I will definitely make a point to write them down. And without further ado, here we go. Hey there, how are you?
Hey, Dean, how's it going?
Good. So welcome. And
Thank you.
I'm just delighted. More coverage on Lameco. So anytime we can do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it definitely deserves its due. So
Thank you for saying that. I think some people misconstrued the original post, and it absolutely was you, in my opinion, trying to invoke people to talk about their Lameco experience.
yeah, it wasn't like me. It's like I don't want to
Hey,
be
there's
right.
nothing left.
Yeah, it's not like I want to be right. I'm just saying if it's not perpetuated, it doesn't mysteriously just go on by itself. I mean,
No,
people
it
need
can't.
to. Yeah, and that was
It
the
just
point.
becomes a word later. It just becomes a word, right?
Yeah,
In a vocabulary that used to be. So.
Yeah, and some people got like upset by it. And if anybody knows my profound admiration for Lameco, I mean, they wouldn't. But yeah,
thought differently, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think some people that might have misconstrued it now see that I didn't mean any, obviously malicious or negative connotation to it. So
10-4.
yeah,
Well, we're all about passing, making sure that does stay alive, like you were suggesting.
yeah,
And,
which I hope it does.
It is. I mean, Roger's a good
Roger definitely,
absolutely, and then Dino Flores,
and his cousin, right? Yeah.
Right, and then you have people like Jonathan Arias, and then maybe Julian in Vegas, and other people that were part of Felix's group at one time or another.
Yeah.
So speaking of Felix's group,
yeah,
that has evolved from the time I joined in '97, which was right after Gudon Guro had passed. I think I joined in September. Gudon Guro passed in April. To me, I was at the house visiting with Felicia and Edgar Jr. and the discussions at that time was who was going to take over, and I didn't know anything about it. Didn't know any of the people I had practiced with Dino and his folks there in Felicia's yard. But that was the beginning of it, and I was 42 years old when I started.
Oh, so you were a late bloomer. Okay.
Yes, I was a street fighting brawler until then.
So what FMA? What did you do as far as FMA prior to that?
So I had no FMA training prior to Lameco. None.
Oh.
I had studied fencing. I had studied theatrical sword and stage fighting. I had studied boxing in the service and in boxing when I got out. And then I was a security guard with half of Felix's group before I became a Felix student. So that's how it started.
So you went within a clean slate. I mean,
absolutely nothing I couldn't impart any. Hey, what about this? What happens when you do this and that?
That's probably for the better, though. I think you know what I mean. Like you go in there. Like,
I'm finding that as a teacher to have half and half merit and half of a pain in the ass, right? Because you as you know, people get set in their ways or have been told by one teacher that this is the proper way to do a move or to get into a position. And you cannot say that that's not correct.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't say in my class that's not correct. I can only say this is how I would invoke that move. This is what I would do. This is how we would do it in Lameco. This is one of the ways Felix taught me how to do this single move. Because through the years of Felix's teaching, so did the curriculum a little bit.
Kind of evolved. Yeah. So what was it? So okay. So your initial training. So I didn't realize this is interesting. So upon PG Edgar's passing, they were still meeting there in the backyard?
Yes, they were still meeting in the backyard.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Oh, that's
So
interesting.
Felix had an alley group, a backyard group. Dino had his group. Willie Loreno had a group. Narbabao had his dad had a group. Chris Ricketts had a group. Krista Topher had a group. So all back then in the day, everybody had groups of Lameco. But then it got dwindled down to where it is now. So I think, and I say dwindled, but it's just through attrition, right? Through attrition.
Yeah. Some unfortunately passed. So so was Felix kind of leading the group there in as far as at Felicia's house?
So I would say between Felix and Dino, it was a cooperative effort to have us go through what Edgar's teachings were, what Punanguro's teachings were. There was no difference in style at that point because they were both fresh off of their students, their tutelage. I think it's when, even when Felix had a dojo in Eagle Rock, Dino's guys came over, Willie's guys came over. So we always were mixing it up and staying within the Lameco group and trying to keep the Lameco fresh. Whoa, you guys do that? Okay, cool. So then maybe Felix would adapt that. There's even the 1 through 12, Lameco 1 through 12 that Felix adapted later on based on some conversations we had in the very beginning.
Okay. Interesting. So with Dino and Felix kind of carrying on the backyard group, did a lot of the backyard members, were they attending?
So when I first joined Felix, I don't know how many of those people were with Punanguro. I think it was just the class that you see, the people you see in all the pictures. You'll see Roger, you'll see Felix, you'll see David Gold, and Leonard Triggs, and those guys, Mike A.G. and all those guys. So I think that's the main group, and after that, everyone else is second generation.
Okay.
So I'm first generation Felix, but second generation Lameco.
So David was there as well?
Not during my training, but I understand that he was around because they were all flying for the. And I don't want to say it was a competition. I think it was just trying to decide who was going to be the leader.
Yeah. No. Right. Exactly.
And I didn't have a dog in that fight.
Yeah. No. Being new. Yeah. Absolutely not. Yeah. You're keeping your mouth. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I'm not saying anything.
That's like even some dog brothers when they go to ascensions. If I don't know the person that we're ascending, I'll just say I have to not put a vote into this ascension or not ascension, and then when they do ascend, then we'll obviously do the touching.
Yeah.
And as far as the dog brothers, I will always walk as a warrior for all of my days.
Yeah.
I started with them in '99. I was still with Felix, and I was in my first competition in '99 in Dog Brothers when they were still at Hermosa Beach before they'd moved to the gyms.
Yeah.
And they went to two different gyms, a raw gym, and then another gym, and then they went to the one in Van and Reseda for their tournaments.
I remember when I went out to go train with Mark, it was in that park where they.
Yeah, that's where they would absolutely hold their Dog Brother events.
Right.
From as far as I knew to went to the first gym.
Okay. Yeah, that's where and this was circa 2002.
Something maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
I had just gotten back from doing Everest Tokyo Disney Seas for Disney.
Okay. So back to the backyard. So so you're new in the backyard. So what was Felix? What'd you think initially of this? Like being FMA, your first experience?
For me, particularly because I thought of myself as a fighter. I got reintroduced to understanding what the word means. I was a brawler. I had no tact, no means and methods. My combos were all just thought of because I was a bouncer. So everything was circumstantial. When I got into this group, I had studied Shotokan in '72, and then in '84, working towards a brown belt. So I'd understood the understanding of discipline and how to apply yourself and the regiment you need to stay within. But I found that the Lameco and the FMA didn't seem to be, the Valencia FMA didn't seem to be as regimented, so to speak, as to working body styles. So Felix would take a bigger or larger person and work with them differently with longer levers than somebody with shorter levers like he had.
That's so nice because like when you do, like I came from Taekwondo before my FMA, and it didn't matter what size you were, man. You were doing the forms. You were doing the one step. It didn't matter if you were 7 feet tall or you were 4 feet tall. You were doing the same thing. But FMA was like kind of catered, or
so the JKD thing came in there, right? Where the JKD comes in, where you adapt to the body style and you use your body strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I was part of JKD.
I like that part of it.
Yeah, like I did.
I like that part of it.
I don't know, half JKD and half the FMA. So when you got certified, you got your JKD certification, then you got your your FMA.
That's cool.
But much to your point though, it was the first time I heard language or that methodology of kind of catering to your body type, you know what I mean? Or what you should do based on your body type, So that was really profound for me,
So now we talk about body types, but the latest thing that's out there is age. Should I still be practicing? Should I still be sparring hard? Should I still be doing all those things that I did when I was younger? Yeah, absolutely. Because outside this house, nothing's changed. Yeah. Not a darn thing has changed outside this house. So I've been in plenty of situations where I don't care how old I'm going to be. I'm going to give it my best or use my head in my best way.
Yeah. You just get smarter.
You get smarter, right?
Right. Yeah. But I'm not ready for golf or badminton. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well, but to that point, I was 5th place in LA City for badminton when I was in high school. So just to let you know that I'm a competitive piece of crap. I just cannot stop competing. And when I go to competitions, it's so hard, Dean.
Yeah.
But I'm done.
David's a good guy, man. Hey, Dave.
Oh, David. You know what? So I'm only teaching now because David Paulson.
No, oh, really? He's a good guy.
Yeah, so what happened was I was in a stagnant mode, and then Lewis and I were sparring just to be prepared for the next tournaments coming up for Valley Martial Arts, for Kills tournaments and things.
Okay.
So then David, he kept telling me that I could and I should, and I kept saying I can't and I won't. And so finally it came together where he talked me into it, and it just came out really well, where I just started training on Tuesdays and Thursdays. People started coming out, and now we right now I am probably more pickleball, absolutely, because I probably couldn't jam the net like I used to.
He's a funny
You're
guy.
correct, Stephen.
He's a funny guy.
Even though I wouldn't play pickleball if he paid me. So, but anyway, so that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, like, what was the approach? Was there, like, did he start you out like it would? Single stick? Did he kind of cover everything?
Yeah, great thing. So I came into his backyard group, and the first thing they were doing, he had the wiffle balls hanging from string, tiny wiffle ball golf balls hanging from strings. Mm-hmm. And all I saw was his entire 15 people lining up and pointing those ping pong balls and walking past them.
Oh, for accuracy?
Pointing.
Yes. Okay.
We don't think about how small the eyeball is, right?
Yeah.
How small that opening is.
There you go.
Right?
Absolutely on the accuracy aspect. That's neat. Yeah, I have a tennis, so I
think
there's a big merit to it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not pushing through, right? Yeah. You're trying to pop it.
Yeah, you're not trying to kill it.
Which was Felix's big deal about getting back to the 12 position.
Getting back to center. Yeah.
Getting back to center. Everybody calls it center. I always refer to it as 12 because I prefer my students to have their elbow on their side. and not 1 degree off their side.
You sure not like this? No, just kidding.
No, I'm positive. Sometimes the caveman really works good if you're really loud and gonna go, I'm coming at you. But no, so keeping it there, and then every time we go to make a move, we try and recover back to that position.
Yeah, that's a big. That's one of the things I think Lameco, and I'm not saying there's not other systems do it, but man, I was in Odd Hands have touched upon it, but that was about it. Like, man, getting back to center for recovery. Like David, like stressed that like to the cows came home. Always getting back to center, holding center, maintaining center, getting back to center, not violating center. I mean, just center.
Over swinging.
Yeah, right.
1, 2, being out of position with footwork. Now, that's another thing. Footwork will put you out of position almost faster than moving your arm past.
Yeah.
I was going to send him a picture of me dressed like that, but I'll do that.
Oh, Maynard? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went to Toei Park in Tokyo in Japan, and they dressed me up for 4 hours to look like him.
Oh, jeez. I met him where I met you at Rogers.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So Maynard, Lameco. Tony was under Felix. So all right, so you're doing that like I mean you're there with some veterans and they're like I mean like obviously sparring is
big people too. I mean these were all a lot of bouncers, 3 guys, 4 guys. Aaron White, who worked for Michael Jackson, who ratted him out, who didn't rat him out, who spoke up. Jannard Wells, all these big people, big people. And there was also regular sized people and shorter people than I was. So the advantage of having Felix as my teacher was he was way shorter than me. So he would have to come in, right? And he would have to do things that I wouldn't think a shorter person would want to do on a taller person. So anyway, that's where my starting was this thing of there's all these people around me. I know I'm fast. And because I was fast, I was able to adapt really quickly to getting the strikes in and getting back to recovery.
So did they have you spar right away or in gradual increments? I mean,
so that's a great question. What we would do is David Paulson brought it up here is we would play King of the Hill at the end of every session. And King of the Hill is 1 strike and you're out. Next person gets their gear on. Next person gets, that's it. So the idea was to be in there as long as you could, and I loved King of the Hill. It was just a lucky thing for me. I didn't know anything, so I couldn't invoke any crazy moves that would take time away from my move.
Right.
And as a clubber, I'm A to B. I'm not A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah. That's straight.
And bless the hearts of those people that manage those kinds of strikes with the twirling. And even Felix has some returns, and there's some Vanicos we use that have some twirling in the returns. But as a clubber, I want to beat you to it. So I'm going to go right to it. And so that's one of the things that I try and work on is the direct strike. And that's one of the things I learned right away from the group. But if you're not the first striker, you're not going to be playing around here.
Yeah.
You be the first striker. In and out and clean.
Yeah.
And that's something that the difference between me being a Lameco person and then going to work with Nick Papadakis.
Okay.
The change was insane. So
from the transition from Felix
from Lameco to Dog Brother more-ish, to more Dog Brother-ish. And the thing about Nick did is he calmed me down and made it so I didn't overswing. Because when I swung in Lameco and I hit somebody, they felt it even with the padded stick. Now, in the Lameco days, this was the padded stick. It's not so padded.
Yeah.
It's the old Lameco Escrima stick.
Look at that, huh?
So, but today we use these flimsy padded sticks that bend around your arm. And,
you gotta get the hit series, the blue ones.
Yeah.
The blue ones are a lot more sturdier.
Speak of that. in next tournament this weekend, there's a still shot of one of the blue ones, and it's looking like a snake going around the person's body where it
they flex. I mean,
yeah,
actually flex. They flex. Yeah, I mean, the red one and black ones flex. The blue ones are pretty. They're pretty sturdy.
They're pretty stout.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. I wouldn't. The red ones and blue ones, the red and black ones, I use for my kid. They're really good for the kids because they're not going to get hurt. Really, really good for kids, but for adults, like you said, there's just too much.
They were too wobble. Now, when I was teaching at House of Champions for Felix as a substitute occasionally, those are the ones we use. We use the red puppies. We call them the red puppies.
Yeah.
But that in the beginning, that's how it was.
So what did he? I mean, so you're back there. I mean, like, was your tenure back there a long time? Because eventually, I'm guessing they. I mean, did they continue to work back in Felicia's yard for a long time, or did
no? So I think this was just more homage to go to Felicia's.
Okay.
I'll go to Felicia's and train, and bear homage to.
And then eventually, everybody kind of went to their own.
Yeah, Dino took off and did Orenthal, and then Roger did Ostig, and Felix did Valencia.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. And where the other people went, I don't know. But even within Felix's group, I'm not sure where Charles Yao is and Tony Ceruno, both. And a lot of the people that did leave the group went off and did great things in martial arts and or weightlifting and or whatever. So it was a leaping point for a lot of people where I stayed there and tried to learn as much as I could.
It's kind of sad. It just seems like, from the bits and pieces I hear, and I'm not claiming to know, I'm only just being suggestive here that, it just seemed like it kind of dissolved and people just kind of went their own way. And, and I guess that's what happens. I mean, I guess that's part of it, right?
It could be if it's not as big as Taekwondo, which is international, right?
Right.
It's not like that at all.
No. I don't think. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, not for sure.
So even when the people went off and onto their own thing, we still all use the Lameco international belts or system, whether it's curriculum, verbiage, rankings, and all of that. It doesn't matter. We still use that as a baseline.
Okay.
And this is where Louis Kiss and I are trying to not necessarily utilize that system, but come up with our own system.
So you're thinking about doing okay, all right, something.
So I am still part of Valencia Lameco, and so I'm ranked in Valencia Lameco as I'm ranked. And in this new thing I'm doing with Louis is just for me to practice one.
Right.
Continue the Lameco thing on. When I stop, Louis will continue it on.
There you go.
That's the plan. Because my grandsons were going to do it.
Yeah.
But they grew up and got their own lives. Imagine that.
That's a good plan. I mean, Louis. I mean, I don't know Louis, but he seems motivated. So.
He's very motivated, and as you know, opinionated, but protective.
But you know what, though? I don't mind the opinionated. You know what I mean? Like, I see his passion. And so.
There you go.
Yeah. And so I kind of give a break because I'm seeing his passion exude from him. So I'm not, like, so quick. But, he seems very motivated. And I think he doesn't need to.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I want to get him on with the whip. You know what I mean? I think.
Oh, my gosh. Yes. So he tries to work with me with a whip, right? The old dinosaur. So I have 3 tears in my shoulder, so I'm really not as active as I am. I've had ADC. What's up, Lawrence? So I've had a fusion on my back, and I did my first Dog Brothers a year after my fusion. And it didn't go so well. So I stopped going to Dog Brothers. Or Steve Sachs beat the crap out of me with a sword, but he did it so lovingly. It was just beautiful. I fell a bunch of times, and he could have creamed me, but you know what? This is what the Dog Brothers should be and was.
But that's what I understand. They just can't just start wailing on you.
They can. They can. You can. And people who don't actually tap out or say, okay. I have still pictures of me driving my elbow into guys' faces back in the day at the gym. If you don't, this is how it was set up when I got there. It seems to be a little more tame now, because the guy got his eye socket broken and I was standing right there, and that's it. That's it. There's no reason for that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Come on.
There's no reason
eye
for
sockets, that. Yeah.
But higher consciousness through
harder contact. Yeah.
It does have some. I mean, it's got validity to it.
Yeah.
When we don't spar for a while, I feel like we're missing out. And so.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, how do you going to know as far as what you can apply? I mean, from a simple fact of just that. I mean, right? And we got a question here from Steve. I just don't. Okay. Here's his question. What level of importance was placed on the footwork? And lots of drilling or more working it out through sparring? So his question is twofolded.
Great questions. So in my recollection, during my times with Felix, remembering that it had evolved over time, footwork was very important, but we would do the caballero. We wouldn't do the ilustrísimo.
Did the caballero? Okay.
We did the caballero a lot, and side moves, right? Side steps, and the habang pawas.
Okay.
But more retradas than attacks, where Roger will come in with a forward skip and in one shot hit you twice, right? So in Felix's thing, it was more making that shot, making that cross, and then cutting back to fighting position, right? So that was it. And the footwork part of it was the triangle. So what I've tried to work with Lou on is the diamond. By taking that triangle, we're working my triangle and watching his triangle. Yeah. And then as he shifts it, so it's a diamond really, as opposed to a triangle. So yes, footwork was one of Felix's things about getting in and out, being in and out, not getting cut and not getting cut, and making the first strike. Remembering that I was mostly there to train to fight in tournaments. I really wanted to win cold steel challenges and to fight in what I heard was the Dog Brothers. Cold steel came like that. I have my gun safe is just full of nothing but cold steel trophies and not trophies, but you get prizes. The Dog Brothers thing, you evolve as a human being from a pup to an old dog like me, right? You have to evolve. You can't just go in there and think that you're gonna even one weekend do well in an open and think that now all of a sudden you're a good FMA fighter.
Yeah, not only that. I mean, especially if you're getting there with some of the younger bucks, right?
So there you go.
You might want to maybe change based on your age, right? Just catching up with the comments here.
What did Jonathan say?
Who's that guy? No, just kidding. No, he's a good guy, Jonathan. He did something really nice for me. I don't want to say
Jonathan's he's
he did something. He sent me something like really, really nice. I just don't want to say anything because I didn't get permission from him, but it was very generous of him. Yeah. And he says, "Hey Taz, still need to make it out there to catch one of your Tuesday classes."
Beautiful. Or Thursday, brother.
Hi to you too, John. No, just kidding.
Absolutely.
And we got Rich. Okay. And Glenn. Who's this Glenn guy?
Oh, Glenn, he's great. He's part of NoHo, and he's a Dog Brother.
Yeah. I know. I'm just kidding.
Narce and the purple shirt guys. I don't know who they are. But he's awesome too. He's a good Joe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, definitely.
So this is Felix's first tournament that he had with Lynn Thompson and Ron Balicki. It was Le Bon Leroux.
Oh, okay.
2001. That was their first Le Bon Leroux.
Oh, nice.
So it was the first time I competed, and that was it, Dean.
That
That sounds like I was
you were bait line, hook, line, and sinker, right?
hook, line, and sinker. It was
However the
awesome.
cliche goes. Love you too, man. Hope you're doing well. But yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
told you that
definitely
guy's salt of
good.
the
Yeah,
earth.
he's a good guy. Yeah. But so all right. So within their like, so was it? Did he show you everything? Stick, knife,
So one thing, Felix,
sword. Or-
we worked on everything except for Lameco one, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. We didn't. Felix and I didn't work on those combos. We didn't call them those combos.
Okay.
I don't know what, Lameco 1, Lameco 2, whatever. We didn't call them because mostly I used one main move, which Mark Denny caught, and it ended up being my demise on one of the Dog Brothers tournaments to Eric Canas's son. So I would cross with a 1, do a redondo once or twice, watch and see where he's at, and then come back with a horizontal, right?
Okay.
Mark told the kid what I do, and the kid caught my horizontal, and it was just ground up. It was off. It was on after that. So it
That
was
was
kind of.
nice of Mark. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
It's okay though, because so what if the guy knew what I was doing?
Yeah,
That's my
I'm
fault.
just kidding.
Yeah, but I know, but it's my fault. And Mark and I get a kick out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Oh, by the
I
way,
absolutely let Eric Canas know that for me to be it was an honor for me to be one of his son's victories. If that makes sense to you. It
yeah,
made sense to me because of how much I cared about the hierarchy within the Dog Brothers at that point.
wow. So did he do a lot? So with regard, was there a lot of sword work, or did he pretty much keep it knife stick?
Mostly stick and knife. The sword work we did was nothing of the fancy stuff. It was just to keep the blade edge forward, to be honest with you, because it wasn't in anything that I personally was interested in learning, and it wasn't anything I was going to be competing in.
The sword. Okay, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
When they called it the teach.
See, that's what I was saying. The combos were there, but maybe he didn't have the names for them right,
So he didn't stress him or give him a name. Okay.
or say this is a Lameco Uno,
Okay.
because I was told that what I just told you was a Lameco 3 by Felix at the time, but he could have been telling me it was 3 different moves, and I was so young and new with green, it just became part of my vernacular. And it works out well for me.
So when you guys stopped training at Felicia's, where'd you guys go to?
So we trained in his backyard. We would go to Felicia's for the heck of it training on a Saturday. But most of it was in his alley until he got the dojo in Nevo Rock, and then we went from there to Hagler's house in NoHo, and then we went from there to House of Champions, I think, where he was teaching there. But during all this time, I was doing $40 private lessons like every other week with Felix.
With Felix. Okay.
Yeah, so I had my own personal experiences with him. My whole family, he would come and visit, hang out with the family for the day, and Uncle Felix was coming, and so it was a big deal for us. And so to me, he was what he saw in Edgar, I saw in Felix, but not to that level because obviously Edgar had a big following, and Felix was trying to start his own school.
Yeah.
Probably trying to still organize his thoughts and get his his curriculum.
I'm just so glad I got him on before his unfortunate.
Oh my gosh, Jonathan too at the same time. I saw that episode 79, right? Episode 79.
One of the most saddest moments in FMA discussion history, profound, sad, and on the YouTube where I post the episodes. So I posted it, his daughter came on and something to the verbiage to the effect of like, thank you for covering. And I was just blown. It was like a tear. It was a tear jerk. I was just, I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? You don't have to thank me. It was a pleasure. But yeah, it was really just.
So, but that's the family. You know what? I've heard a lot of crud about my grandmaster. I've heard a lot of crud about it. People didn't know he was sick. They thought he was on drugs or something, maybe, but he was sick. And people needed to realize that, and I don't think they gave him the credit. I think they misjudged him.
No, no. I mean, like it was a really enjoyable episode. I mean, like he
It
would
was
come down,
great.
sit in a chair, talk about some stuff, then he would go back and
Yeah, I saw him
we
doing
sit
some
down.
demos, right? Yep, yep.
Yeah, like I really enjoyed it. Like that was one of my, I really enjoyed it. And of course, Jonathan was there. Yeah.
Jonathan was there in an IT role. I saw it.
Oh my
He was
God.
just glad to be there too, so it's great.
Oh my
Uh, the
God.
book,
Yeah. No worries, Jonathan. It was a pleasure and an honor
absolutely
to get him on. I'm just thankful, that we are able to do it before his unfortunate passing.
right.
Yeah, it was just what a shame. What a shame. So what? Okay, so you're there. Like now, did you continue to train with him up to his passing?
No, so what happened was he had like a whole new group of students, Jonathan, Ron Goldsmith, all those people, and that was a different era. I was still talking to him all the time and in contact with him, but we weren't training anymore because I was basically training with Nick on every Saturday
Gotcha.
at that point. So I had stopped my Lameco training, direct training, but he didn't ever stop the conversations or
Oh, good.
talking
Okay.
about
Okay.
how to move off of a move, or if I had a question, he would always answer it for me.
Yeah.
So up until his passing, we weren't as close as Jonathan and Ronnie were to him at that time because they were actually working with him
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and some of the other people that are in the group.
No, at least you guys were still talking. I mean that's fantastic.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's something that would never. So between him and so Felix got me going and got me in my base, and Nick kind of helped refine that base so that I could become a full dog brother. Because I was not moving my feet correctly. I was not doing good dog brother footwork. I was doing FMA footwork, and I was getting out of the way, but I was not. No, I wasn't getting out of the way. I was clashing a lot. So then Nick helped me understand the in and out, helped me to move off of different positions on different ways to strike on different angles. Whereas I was just doing those, and Felix was saying, "Yes, that works. So do it," which was great because it did work. And Cold Steel, I got. When you sign up for Cold Steel tournaments, they give you a number, right? So I got like number one 3 years in a row or something for signing up because I'd gotten so lucky
Mm.
and had such good teachings. But Victor Gadrano busted me.
Vicar Giordano, he passed
He,
too,
he,
huh?
he said, "You studied fencing, didn't you?"
Uh,
I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Your thrust is a fence thrust." So he helped me from over thrusting
okay. Okay.
in one comment at one challenge. So yeah, as an FMA practitioner, if you're not open to taking suggestions and
Oh
doing
my
what you
God,
want,
constructive criticism, right?
oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
And
Come
so
on.
even when I practice with Lewis's body is way shorter than me. So I can't exactly do the same things the same what Felix would do to me. Felix would come in and charge and do things. So it's a whole different paradigm. You have to make
Yeah.
sure that
Yeah.
you're adjusting for that. And I take Lou's suggestions. If he says that it's uncomfortable for him to get to that position, you
Yeah.
work a way for him to get to that position
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
to
Wow.
make it
Wow.
effective.
Yeah. The bruises don't lie. Yeah, that's for sure. But so okay, so you started so 97 to how many years would go with you?
So up until he passed, but direct training was up until probably 2012.
Oh, so
So I stopped.
97 to 2012?
Yeah,
That's a long time. I mean,
yeah.
that's
That's when he appointed. That's when he awarded me my first ascension to black belt, and there was no such thing
yeah.
in his group. There was no such thing in his group, so he had to make up a certificate in order to assign me my first APA,
Okay.
my first fourth degree.
So
Uh,
which enabled you obviously
to
to
become
teach,
an
right?
instructor, right?
To
Correct.
teach
Which
it,
I
yeah.
did a House of Champions for him, and then when I could remember, I would teach for Nick, but unfortunately I blew that because I forgot it wasn't my thing. I had forgotten to teach a couple of times, and then next student showed up, and there was no teacher. So I absolutely own that part of it. But this FMA community is insanely outrageously cool. I mean, the brotherhood that is out there.
I have no idea about that, running FMA discussion for 5 years. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just the best. If you're still, I mean, to testament to you still doing it after all this time, the people that have the comments, the good comments that are on there that are relevant to the discussions. I mean, come on, they're not the same questions every week. Sure, you hear about footwork. Well, you're asking about what my footwork and how I was taught footwork, and you're asking about distance and angles, but that's mine and the way I learned the Lameco and the FMA way.
It could be a tough community, and we wonder why we're on the bottom still. And it's like you don't have to look very far. Usually, the mirror in your house will pretty much the reflection on some of them, because you look at, for instance, BJJ came here in maybe mid 90s. It started to take off. They've outpaced us. I mean, we're blown out by them. And I think it's the reluctance to get farm teams, the youth, competitions, but also just the tension, the crab mentality, and just, I mean, I think all of it lumped together, unfortunately. And I've seen it. Like first couple of years of FMA discussion were pretty nice. They were smooth, but after year 3, I started experiencing like the passive aggressiveness to me. Because if I had somebody on and I didn't get them on, or if they didn't tell us something that was true, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been caught in the middle.
There's no reason for that at all.
To FMA. You know what I mean?
There's no reason there's no reason for that at all.
I don't get paid to do this. You know what I mean? No, I don't see anybody else doing it.
That's another thing. I'm not teaching for money.
Yeah.
So that's a problem for the community. It's a problem for the community because there's people that make their living off of teaching. But I'm not taking any of their students. None of their students.
See, like you're not poaching anybody, right?
I'm not poaching people. That I never said, you know what, this guy's terrible. Why don't you come train with me? Yeah. I can offer you something different than this person. Never. That's not my. I'm out there to train on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah. Anybody that wants to come and do it can come and see what it is. That's it. It's
a tough, and just the passive aggressiveness. It's just, oh my freaking God. It's just,
and that's not even politics. It's strictly martial arts. So,
no, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it's not just FMA. Oh, I totally agree with you. I see it more because of the group and the channel and everything else. So I get my exposure to it is more than they are arts. But yeah, absolutely, it takes place. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I know it's too. And adults, it's like I look in the group sometimes, and I see sometimes the way these people are acting. I'm like, you don't even know this person. And like, if you were in front of this person, I can guarantee you wouldn't be talking to them like that. Like, because you're behind
the keyboard warrior mentality. I just had it out with somebody today.
It's just so terrible the way some treat each other. It's just like
it is. It's terrible.
I used to give people warnings. Hey, could you change what you're saying and all that? Now I'm just like, you know what? I'm just so done. Like, they do. Go on. Bye. I just don't care. I'm like,
some guy went on my site today, pulled a picture of my sister and myself on there. And I said something about a political thing that I said was disgusting. And they said they took a picture of my sister and me, and the person said the person on your right is disgusting. Jeez. Talking about my sister. So can we keep it on subject? 1. 2, don't bring my family into it, because I'll find you.
Hey, Sam Elliott. I'm sure you never heard that before.
No, never heard that.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, that's funny. But I know it's just crazy. Like, here he is. This guy's making fun of on your sister. You know what I mean? Like,
it's crazy. It's crazy. And then my son and my granddaughter in one of my pictures on my site, and he writes in there pedo, like I'm a pedophile. I mean, so the point is in these discussions you have, the intelligence should be coming through. People should be asking smart questions. Like, that was a great question about the distance and the footwork and how Felix worked it out. And I think that's important. That's relevant to this discussion.
Yeah. I know. So you're still okay. So 2012, then you kind of go, with Nick, who's a really good guy.
Yep.
I've had him on here. Yeah, he's wonderful. And then now you're still kind of training with Nick now, or?
No, so now I don't train as with Nick, but I still have big love for Nick. So I try and support his tournaments and go out for his tournaments, and I never forget somebody that's helped me get to where I am.
Sure.
Never.
Yeah.
So even though if they don't take credit for it or if they don't consider that they helped and I was just another person going through their factory, to me that doesn't mean anything. It's what I think about it.
So what are you doing these days then?
So I basically just train twice a week. That's it. And I have no teacher anymore because want to I don't want to muck up the waters of the Valencia Lameco.
Oh,
That's
you want
all
to
I'm
keep it
teaching.
pure the way it was given to
I'm
you. Gotcha.
keeping my Valencia Lameco pure to
That's
my Valencia Lameco, which is not Jonathan's Lameco all the way, and it's not David Paulison's Lameco all the way, and it's not the guys that started before me all the way. And there weren't too many that started before me because it all happened at once. Felix may have been teaching when he was studying with Baker. I don't know.
No, I think that's admirable. You're carrying on what he gave to you, and you're being honest about it. I mean, that's yeah.
And so but I do, like when in class, if I learn something that Roger's done, if I've looked at a video and I think it's good, or Stephanie or anybody that's Lameco affiliated, and I think it's relevant, I might include that in our lesson and say this is from Ostig. This is not Lameco Valencia. This is Ostig. So don't confuse the two and give that credit to where it's due.
Yeah, giving credit where I know that's a whole nother thing, man. I know,
And
but
that's the human. I'm surprised. My mom taught me better than that. I don't know.
it's
You're
just
in New York.
amazing
My
what
family's from New
people.
York. I just don't get how people can
Oh,
be
it's a whole
cruel.
nother disgusting thing where you see people just doing it on and stuff, and it's not that they found it. I mean, the other person obviously discovered it, but still, you can still give credit. I mean, were you the resource? I mean, come on, how hard is
That's
that?
right. I saw this on a video, and this guy was doing it, so I'm going to
There you
try it.
go. You don't
It.
even
And
you
it's
might not
very
know how.
clear.
It's
Why
just
would
like
I
I
take
told.
ownership for something that's not mine? And it doesn't even make sense. It's
I
just
know, I
cheating.
know.
It's
It's
cheating.
it's it's just bad ethics, and it just it's like if we want the younger generation to like be respectful and all that, we have to, they're gonna
Set
mirror
the
us,
example, right?
right? If we don't set that example and think it's just okay to do that, I mean that, yeah, I'm not
But
a.
isn't all of basic FMA? I mean, you can come down to whatever region of the Philippines you come from, right? So in Edgar's case, he tried to merge the three different regions. So I think that's
Yes.
one of the advantages of Lameco itself. And I'm not going to say over other FMAs. I'm going to say along with.
Yeah, right on, Maynard. Yeah. It's funny you brought that you were what you touched upon with in the three regions. It's like, when I got Mark Wiley's book, I'm like, this guy is the Bruce Lee of FMA. Like, took him for all these different systems. I'm like, wow. Like, immediately he resonated with me without really knowing what the hell I was reading. Him and Illustration, those two are the two guys
Okay.
I got out of Mark Wiley's book. They just really resonate with me. One, the JKD kind of FMA, and one guy who was just basically just killing people left and right. You know what I mean? So those two, yeah. And unfortunately, they both died the same year, 97.
Yeah.
Man, what a sucky year that was, huh?
No kidding. No kidding. Well, for me, it was an enlightening year for me. So for me, it was a terrible year to start on the note of that the Kunal Guru had passed.
Yeah.
Right? Terrible note. But a great start for my FMA career.
Yeah, right. Because look, I mean, right. So you can, yeah. So you can't say it was all
Yeah.
bad for you because you got right. You got exposed to, yeah. It's just, yeah. I mean, how fortunate that you were. Yeah. I mean, wow. Uh, so what do you? I guess back to Felix. Like, what did you get for him? Like, far as not the physical techniques, the tactics, and all that, but just life lessons or anything like that. Like, how do you involve you as a human being, not just a
So
student?
me being the elder,
Okay.
Me being the elder, I had to bite my tongue on a lot of, not bite my tongue, but look at it from a more open perspective. Right? So, and I'm a student. So, what he taught me in the FMA community was about the community. And it is a community. And it doesn't matter who's doing what. Every single martial arts has a thing where, starting in the back in the days, the school would go beat the shit out of this school and crud out of this school, and then then it came down to now it's just we're keyboard warriors, right? So we went from this dynamic, really action to keyboard warriors. So I think what Felix tried to get me to understand was Dino's your brother. Dino's your brother. Roger's your brother. These people are your brothers. They're not your competitors. This is not a competitive system.
Well, that's good. So, I mean, instilling that in you to, work with the others and not look at them as like separate entities. You know what I mean?
Never considered it like that. Dino and those guys never considered them being Orenthal or anything different. They were just Lameco. That was it.
Nice. So what are you trying to? Okay, so now you got the group going. So what's your goals for the group? So you and Lewis are spearheading it pretty much? Or?
So I would just like to become part of. Lewis has a good thing going with his shadow, with his knife throwing and his whip action. Yeah. And what I thought I would do is be in addition to his offerings for people for Shadow Academy martial arts. So that's what I thought I could do. Be a Lameco instructor within his system.
Gotcha.
Within his group. I have no aspirations of becoming anything different than I am now. I'll be 70 at the end of May. So
all right, okay.
My competitive days stopped at the time before last at the Valley tournament. So
okay.
I realized once I can't move, that's it. So, tournaments are out, but I'll still fight you. Not you particularly, but
Oh, Renee! Oh my God, Renee's episode 355 when he came on. It's just, if you haven't seen it, like you're missing out. You know what I mean? It's that profound.
Well, I didn't think Renee had. We've talked in the past, but I didn't think he liked me for some reason. I didn't know why. No reason. There's no reason.
Oh, he's never said anything. No, he's never.
I didn't.
I don't think that's the case.
Good. Yeah. Good. Because I think he's awesome. I've been talking to him for forever. We met a lot years and years ago, decades ago, at one of the Dog Brothers things. But we've been talking a lot about our jobs and the businesses we do. And
Maynard, you haven't seen 355? That's blasphemous, Maynard.
Yeah, I know. I will check it out.
Yeah, he's not here. So you're awesome. Yeah. So no.
Thanks, Renee.
Yeah.
Thanks, Renee. Actually, one time you had said something about when you were still on your job somewhere, Renee, and you were packing up, and I said, "Don't worry, you'll be home soon." And when I didn't hear from you, I was like, "Oh no, maybe I said something wrong."
No. I love your work just as bad.
Oh, you're awesome, dude. You're awesome.
Yeah, Renee's okay. I mean,
yeah. You're just saying that because you're buddies. That's all right. But okay, anyway, so the goal is to continue on, and anybody that wants to study Lameco, just come up to Zelda Park on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Remember that we're going to be concentrating on footwork, a lot of footwork, and it may be out of the vernacular of what was always taught in Lameco or FMA, because I'm going to combine some boxing in with it, and to Ventura's point about the BJJ and the Dumont. So I don't have the ability to get up and down like I used to because of my surgery, but we do stand up grappling, and that's the next thing we're waiting for. We have Stephen. We have Lameco Escrima CKV group on Facebook, so you can follow what we're doing on that.
And
It's so true. You can become stagnant and think that your hands are going to be your savior, but you can only go 120 miles an hour for so long, right? 120
You know
miles
what
an hour.
David Gould used to tell me? Your hands will fail you.
Oh, if you think that's your bread and butter,
He said,
absolutely.
your hands, if you just rely on them, they will fail you. And I thought that was so profound. Like, I just never heard that before. I was like, wow. You know what I
I would
mean?
have to take that in context, but yeah. Without footwork, your hands are useless.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I meant. Like, you just can't just rely
Yeah,
on
I
them.
get it, and
Yeah.
that's a great point. So
Yeah, it
I
was,
think even in my posts, we throw each other down, and I get in trouble from a lot. So stand up grappling, we try and drop each other as soon as we can, so that we're not the person with the bigger body style or the stronger strength, even strength, smaller, bigger, whatever. They may have the advantage at that tight dumont and that tight clashing thing. So the idea is to get control and to get the center of gravity off, in my opinion. So we try to get our footwork arranged that way, and then pushing on top and pulling on bottom, etc.
the push and pull and Dubog.
Push pull, and everything. So I have the guys do the twist.
Yeah.
You laugh. I literally have them do the twist because if they're not moving by doing lateral movements,
Yeah.
they're going to be stuck in this monolithic, single planed, whatever.
The push and pull.
But push pull.
So, all right. So are you and Lewis co-teaching or you're?
So I'm getting Lewis to the point where he can teach. He's absolutely, so he's done tournaments. He's been around the martial arts world for a long time, probably longer than I have contiguously. And what's the foundation for the stand-up grappling? Great question. So it's Felix's version of stand-up grappling, which was a lot of backhand trapping and posting up with a lot of wraps, and then trying to quickly get into the 20 disarm, the 20 arm bar and stuff. So that's probably the best answer that I can give for that.
How was his knife work? Looked pretty good. I remember seeing some old videos. I thought Felix's knife work was
that was probably my best. My luckiest thing was because he was so good at knife fighting that was my favorite thing to do was knife fighting. Stick was okay, but I felt that because I was doing what I was doing and I felt uncomfortable, I was always overreaching, right? Whereas knives, I could stay small and do small circles. Big thing for Felix, small circles.
Small circling,
small circles, right?
Yeah.
So that's how. That was the difference, I think, in that respect.
Yeah. I say it. I think Lameco. People are probably going to get angry with me, but I think Lameco has the best knife I've seen. I think
I've seen videos of other people saying that FMA is probably one of the better martial arts to study, and out of those, I've only been exposed to Lameco. I've gone down to tournaments, the quilt tournaments. You know what those quilt tournaments they have, where they wear quilts and they have sticks as big as a straw and they try and beat each other up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I'm not going to say it.
And if you're in that school and your school's judging, you got a good chance to win. Anyway, to me, that's not what we do in our classes. When I strike hard, I'm probably asked to back off a little bit because I probably strike too hard in our training. So, and that's one thing I'm starting to lose control of a little bit at my age is balance, right? So when I lose my balance, I start to grip a little harder, and I'm still doing training and weightlifting and doing running and walking. So even at 70, I still have some muscle memory that just overreacts sometimes because of my loss of balance. So I'm trying to work on that.
But you got to keep
And
going.
Lewis,
Until you don't use it, you lose it. You know what I mean?
that's
You
it.
got to keep going.
That's
We're
it.
going to stop. You know what I mean?
So even when Lewis and I are doing things, I'll go to do something. I'll go, wait, that doesn't feel right either. So we go to do it. Nah, this is the way Felix taught me.
Yeah.
But one of the main things is just the open backhand, blocking with the open backhand, getting on the side of the person with the open backhand.
Mm.
And I don't see many other martial arts trying to use the open backhand. There you go, David. It was the C-lot aspect. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. So you okay? So this is good. But you guys got the group going. You're getting some attention to that.
Yeah. So we have 5 students right now that are in the industry. So when you're in the industry, you're coming and going based on whatever job you have. Movie industry, makeup, whatever. And me, it was theme park. So I was gone sometimes a year at a time. So I wouldn't be able to be with Felix's class for a year at a time. So I have to come back and make up a lot of time. But the 5 we have, they rotate in and out. Tomorrow I have a private because the rest of the class can't make it. So it's actually good. For me, I'd rather have the smaller group where I can give them more attention. I'm slower, and then they get more attention. And by the end of the day, whenever I left Felix's class, whatever I learned that day, on the way home, I felt like I could dog anybody on the road. I'm serious, Dean. Because I was a brawler.
Yeah. Jeez, was not my grappling the groundwork was not my
Julian,
favorite.
see, that's what I was saying. Julian,
Julian
we can get him
knows.
out here from Vegas.
Oh. Is Julian
Yeah.
still active?
I don't know, and I think when you Felix's nephew Julian, I think Julian is the son of a guy that worked with us together when I hired Felix to work at a scenic shop.
Yes, he is in LA right now. It sounds like you guys got to get Julian back in the mix. Huh?
Yeah,
if he's not already. Wow.
Julian
So
had
all right.
volunteered.
So what's your guys' goals? I mean, not only to carry out Valencia's lineage, but to
Until I can stop teaching, just to pass it on. That's
and
it.
then,
I
and
have
then
no
and that's the move.
aspirations of creating a big school with a big place.
Yeah, I got you.
What would be good? Thank you, Jonathan. That's exactly correct. Because I think his dad is one that worked with Felix. But anyway, I think we just want to make this so that until I'm done teaching, then Lewis can carry on the Lameco as much as he can carry on Lameco. Of course, it's going to change a little bit based on what he gets out of what I teach him. Like I got out of what Felix taught me is probably different from what Jonathan or David got out of it.
Oh, okay. So it looks like Julian's still in the picture. John's going to go train with him. Good.
Great.
Nice.
I'll get a hold of Jonathan after this.
Yeah, then you have to see what you're missing. Jonathan's going to have to give you a brush up.
Yeah. I mean, once I go down, I won't be getting back up. So get on my knees and crawl back up. But anyway, to me, it's about we still work on those things. I still will go down and go up high with a block and grab a leg and pull it out. So careful, you youngsters out there. You still got
careful for that ankle pick.
That's right.
Watch my ankle pick. Yeah, I know, but at least you're jumping to something even despite your right? So what else you got cooking? Like, what are your future goals? I mean, like, besides this,
Actually, I'm getting ready to retire. I think I got a couple of years left if the company will let me hang in there, and then after that.
Yeah, I mean that sounds wonderful. You're going to retire, huh?
Yeah, right now I'm consulting for theming companies in Florida. A theming company in Florida. We do work for Universal and Disney, but hopefully that'll couple of years maybe. I was told 73 by the boss today, but we'll see.
But you don't have to. I mean, you're doing it because you want it. You don't have to continue, right?
No, I don't have to continue. And I also like the idea of being involved in what's the last, I know I'm one too, David. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
I
But
mean,
anyway,
you don't obviously have to continue, right? I mean, you can just
no,
do
I
it.
don't have to continue. I am right now so that we have a bigger nest egg, and we have a great grandchild that just was born. So we're trying to continue on the family purse as it is.
Um,
But other than that, if as soon as that happens, that would allow me to go to maybe 3 to 5 days a week out at the park. And that's eventually what I would like to do. I'd like to do so that I can do privates,
yeah.
people that want to take the time for privates, and then do the group classes. It's essential to do group classes. Private lessons are awesome. If you do not understand what it means to go, the feeling, the touch, the distance, just the strength difference between one person and the next. If you get complacent with the stronger person or a lesser strength person, you will end up being that way.
No, you get the varied sizes and abilities, and yeah. I mean, exactly. The Huego Toto. Okay.
Really? He's going to go down there, huh?
Where Jonathan, the one that's on the East Coast, I'm
Isn't that
assuming,
the one in the Philippines or no?
but they're starting it over here, and I'm just
Oh,
wondering
okay.
if he means the one out here. But I guess we'll
Wait
find
to
out
see.
in a bit. Up there, but they're trying to bring it over here, and it looks like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it looked like the videos they had of the two masters fighting each other was pretty cool as a beginning of to let
Yeah,
other people see what that is.
yeah, the East Coast, and one of yep, yeah. So I'm kind of part of this thing. I'm more the promotional guy to try to, but East Coast, I mean, they got a ring. I mean, it looks like it's gonna happen. So
Great,
yeah,
great.
you know. Um, But so that's the plan. So then you can. So once you retire, you can kind of work with the younger guys. Is that kind of what it's about?
I would always like to be able to come in and drop in like I do from my professional business, like I do
Yeah,
for FMA. If someone's having a class, Jonathan's having a class or something, Ronnie, we always exchange stuff, even when we gather at Eagle Rock. When
sure.
the Lameco group gathers at Eagle Rock, we always exchange something or practice something that Felix did with us
Yeah, I'm sure the
that
younger
maybe they
folks
didn't do
would
with the other.
appreciate having you around, though. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
would hope so.
Yeah.
I like just being. I like the fact that when I go out there with Lewis and the group, I
Okay.
can't believe how much I've forgotten. I can't believe how much I had been taught over all these years. You just don't even think about it. You've studied not just FMA, correct?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's like kind of ironic. I'm not. I'm only thing I'm doing in FMA really now is kind of under Stephanie Lameco. I still do KI because other than that, though, I'm more like kind of knife centric to prison systems, what the you know what I mean, just like what's really happening out there.
The real
Not that I
stuff. Oh,
glorify it, you know.
so to that point, I would like to say that we do circumstantial training.
Okay.
So
Oh, I'm sorry, Tony. Maynard wants to know Eagle Rock. When are you there?
yeah, so the Eagle Rock thing is when Ronnie and Jonathan and those guys decide we're going to get together.
Food after the training.
Now that Glenn. Um, so what happens is we get together in Eagle Rock, and I think that's what they're trying to find out when the next gathering is. And no one said anything yet about when we're supposed to meet again.
Yeah, okay.
So I think maybe after Julian has his fight, possibly I'll talk with Jonathan after this. I'll see if I can get a hold of him.
I think it would be nice if you, Jonathan, and Lewis, you guys could get like something going. I mean, like you guys should work together.
Geographically, it's not so easy.
Oh, you guys are. Oh, you're not that close. Okay.
No, so we're in the valley, and I think Jonathan's in San Dimas, maybe. I could be totally wrong.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure where you are, John. But I don't think we're that close, but we're not that far apart where we can't meet in Eagle. Right?
I mean, but even if it was like
once a month or something,
Yeah,
or
or
whatever.
I mean, or once every 2 months, but
Yeah,
just
I wouldn't have no problem with that. I think I had a fear, Dean,
yeah, he's
of
in. Okay, yep, San Dimas.
San Dimas. Yeah, there you go. So I
Just,
think
I'm
I
just
had a
thinking,
fear.
like, you can kind of get the new stuff that John's got, and he can kind of. I mean, I think it would just be better for the younger folks coming up, right?
So when David comes to town, we like to get together
Hmm.
when we can all get together on the hill. We call it's the hill there at Eagle Rock Park. But everybody shows up. All the Valencia Lameco people that are still
Oh, that's
anybody shows
nice.
up. So it's
That's
really good.
fantastic.
It's a good exchange. So to your point, yes, there needs to be more of it.
Yeah,
Possibility of that happening is tough. David's in another country.
yeah, I did. Right, right.
Jonathan San Dimas. I don't know. Ronnie is closer, I think, but I don't know where the other people are.
But you know what? Just through this, I mean, if it lends itself to where at least you and John get together, maybe every 2 months or something like that, that's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, it is better than nothing. That's a great suggestion, and I'm sure he's
You
taking this
know?
in too. So it's a great suggestion. I had a fear when I started with Lou that the group might not support that because but we don't have a class. We don't have a group classes, Valencia Lameco, where we get together on Saturdays or
Mm.
Fridays or Tuesdays. So I had to do something to where I was training. It just turned into sparring to training into
A hostile takeover.
See what I mean? Schools go to other schools.
You
It's
guys
back
got
to
to you
China
guys
days.
got to get back together and reclaim your spot.
Yeah, we'll get back together. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Especially now that he's got students. Johnson has students that I've met, and I want him to meet my students. So
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll
It's
get
just
it.
gonna be better
We'll get
for
there.
all. It's gonna be better for all of them, right? I mean,
We'll
including
get
you
there.
guys. Yeah. And at the same time, you'll be perpetuating the lineage, right?
We are.
Yeah.
We
I
are.
think I'm so glad to hear. I really am. Matter of fact, what I really like to do when you and John meet up, I could bring you both on the show, and you guys
Oh,
can tell me.
that'd be awesome.
You
That'd
guys
be
can do
awesome.
kind of a compare and contrast live with
Yeah,
and
no, we can do that. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
all right, so what that means is you and John have to get together.
We're gonna. There's no problem with that. Actually, there's none at all.
Oh no, I'm
Jonathan,
saying on
we
here.
meet up on the hill whenever, so I don't see there's a problem. I think it's just a matter of timing. Sometimes Jonathan
Yeah,
has obligations, so I got to make sure I clear
King of
his
the
calendar.
Hill live. Yeah,
So there you go. So when David's got a point.
that's it.
So so
The projects he's working. What is
Cars
it?
Land, Star Wars, Little Mermaid,
Oh, no kidding.
Shanghai Disney, Beijing Universal, Osaka Universal.
No kidding.
I went
Wow.
to a country called Florida, lived there for a few years, did some stuff over
That
there.
separate country, Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, that other country.
From California, that is definitely a different. That is definitely a different country.
Let's just put it this way: when I went there in '92, they already coined me as hippie. That was it. I was
That's
hippie.
hippie.
That was it.
Sir, wow. So Star Wars.
Thanks,
Wow.
Renee.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we did both West Coast and East Coast at 6 months apart from each other for
Oh,
Star Wars. So
wow.
that was quite a task. And training at the same time, and then leaving Japan to come to the Cold Steel tournaments, leaving uh, Florida to go to the Dog Brothers, whatever. And then all the
So
time, these people
you were
think I'm just
traveling.
some
All right.
art director, just like every other FMA practitioner, looks just like a regular Joe, and can probably wallop you.
Mm. Wow. Neat, neat, neat. And this is where kind of you mentioned you're going to be retiring from in a few years, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty
You
sure.
think so?
I'm already not having to travel as much anymore because I also do 3D scanning from small objects to big buildings and things like that. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
I have versatility is what kept me in the business for so long.
Yeah.
writing
That's
codes
interesting,
and.
though. Wow. That's gotta be like, like I gotta imagine some pretty interesting people. I mean,
Really interesting people,
yeah,
from
I
David
bet.
Crosby walking through to Lucas and all those other people
Jeez.
during development stages of WGI and Glendale's. The rich and famous love to say they went there,
Yeah.
so it's fun.
There is. Awesome. Well, here, let's do this. Let's get you back on. You're gonna have to get
Thank
together
you,
with John,
thank you. I will.
and
I
we'll give
really
you.
appreciate this opportunity, Dean. This
Oh my
is really a
God,
big deal
no!
for Lewis, Kiss, myself, and the Lameco group.
More than happy to
Period.
do it
So,
anytime. Anytime for Lameco. Anytime. So
so
yeah,
don't forget, guys. Footwork, footwork, footwork,
and more footwork.
and more footwork, and then we'll get into Dumont later.
Yeah. Uh, doesn't don't the industry need people like you? Apparently, yeah. Can you
Yeah, when they're
design?
20 and 30 and 40 and 50 and 60, yeah.
Renee would like to know if you can design blinds for
Oh,
doing.
because your window doesn't have
Yeah,
blinds in the
but you know
window.
what it is?
Fucked up.
I can't change it now. Like people are just so used to them. It's kind of the
So
effect.
it looks like a backdrop that you put in behind
That's what I mean. Like,
your.
and for me to change it now after like 5 years, it's like, what's the point? You know what I mean? It's right. Like, what am I gonna do
And
for
the
now?
designing a mousetrap is kind of like useless.
You know what I mean? So what's the point of doing it? I mean, if it was like my first year in or something, I would consider it.
I think
But
Renee's got a point, though. You
what's
could kind
that?
of spruce it up a little bit, buddy.
I
Get
thought
that
about
one
it.
little fling and hanger out of there.
I thought about it, but it's one of those things that I just
You
can't
just
be
become
bothered.
it's just part of you.
I just
It's
can't
what.
be bothered. I'm just, yeah, I don't know. So,
Anyway, our group really appreciates this opportunity. Thank you.
yeah,
It's not
anytime.
a small thing. It's a big deal for all of Lameco and all
Yeah,
my
no,
guys.
no.
Thank you.
So please, when you get together with John, reach out to me. I'll make it happen.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
Tony. Hey, man, good talking to you. Thanks for coming on. You take care.
Thanks a lot. Bye,
All
you
right,
guys.
bye.
FMA.
FMA. uh, yeah, see? There you go, Glenn. My humbleness. Exactly. Why am I going to change them now for? I think that would actually take away how I'm perceived, I think. Depending on who you talk to, right? So, yeah, who's next on FMA discussion? So obviously, I've kind of opened up FMA discussion again. Not to say I will be doing it the frequency which I was doing it, but still definitely hand chosen pick people, if you will, ones that like really interest me and all that. So if you have suggestions of folks that you would like to hear from, by all means, you can send me a message and I will definitely respond. Wednesday night, Marshall Meh. Who's coming on? I'm not sure if anybody's coming on, actually. I think it might be just me and Renee talking about whatever. Status quo, what's going on in the community, what we like, dislike, improvements, or we think maybe should be improved. Yeah, so I'll give you kind of my feeling on stuff like that. I have to talk to Renee, and Renee, of course, will be a little more animated than me. But hey, that's what makes it work, right? If we were the same, it'd kind of be boring. But anyway, folks, yeah, so check us out Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. But thank you all who tuned in and watched, and I will see you next time.